Advice on having a baby. She had a baby, man. She had a baby. Advice on having a baby. Hey, Bill, I need some advice. You're talking to me? What the fuck? I'm nowhere near that. He said, my wife and I are both 27 years old. She is a graduate from college and working. I'm getting a master's degree and will not be done for another 2.5 years. The issue is she is getting to the point where she wants to have a baby. Not now, but sometime right after I graduate. I, on the other hand, am not wanting a baby anytime soon. But by the time I graduate, I will have been in college for nearly 8 years. After I graduate, my wife and I will have a dual income of well over $100,000 a year. I grew up in a fairly poor family. I worked hard to get my schooling, so I want to enjoy the rewards. I want a nice apartment, nice things, and to travel the world. If we just start having kids, we won't be able to travel, and if we just have kids right after I graduate, I'll go from a life of stress from school to a life of stress from parenthood. But I understand my wife's concern. If we wait until we are 33 or 34 to start having kids, we could have some trouble conceiving. And if it takes us too long, she could give birth to a mentally challenged child, which does run in my family. Jesus Christ, dude, this is one of the more serious ones. I love my wife and plan on being with her the rest of my life. It's just a shame that my goals are to travel and have nice things, and her goals are to start a family. So what do you think, Bill? Any advice? That's some pretty heavy shit there. Well, I don't understand why when you're going to school right now that you guys can't save up a little bit of money and go to Aruba for a few days. You can do little mini ones. You know what I mean? I think there's a way to kind of do both. And I think if you express all your concerns to your wife and just say, look, I don't want to be that couple that just goes from school to having kids, and then once we have kids, all we do is just do the kid thing. I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you here. Fuck. I definitely understand. I mean, you went from a life of poverty right to a life of school, and then you're going to go right to a life of being a parent. When do you actually get to sit back and enjoy a nice flat screen TV, watching some sports, or maybe go travel in Europe or something like that? Look, dude, you could do this. You could have a kid. I don't know how close you are with, the parents on either side. I think you can have your cake and eat it. Why don't you just have a fucking kid and then also save up for a fucking epic 10-day trip somewhere through Europe, and then just make a pact with your wife and just say, listen, once every 2 years or once every whatever, I want to go on a trip, and we'll leave the kid behind or the kids behind. My parents did that. They went to Vegas, and my grandparents came to town. It was great. We ended up developing a relationship with our grandparents. It was a good thing, and it was also good socially. It was good for us as kids to have a different sort of disciplinary dynamic. Jesus Christ, I remember I tested my grandmother, too, and she broke a fucking wooden spoon. Would have been over my head, but I got my arm up and I blocked it. I kept messing. I saw her, the way we were renting this, lived in a duplex when I was a kid for a certain number of years, and the way we had it set up was it went kitchen, living room, and then dining room. So you had to walk through the living room. We kind of altered the living room and kitchen a couple of times, trying to figure out which was best. And this was just a period where there was, it went kitchen, and then we had the living room, and then we were using the other room as a dining room. So anyways, there was this old shitty rug, and there was a hole in it. So my mother had put a throw rug over the hole on the floor. So I saw my grandmother walk by through the living room as she was setting the table, and she saw the throw rug was messed up, and I just heard her mumble to herself. She said, "Now, why does this keep getting messed up?" So she walked into the kitchen. That was literally my cue. She'd straighten it out, walked into the kitchen. So I said, all right, fuck. So I got off the couch and I messed it up and went over and I went back and I sat down. So then she comes walking out with the dishes or the food, and she sees it again. She goes, "Now, what just happened? I just straightened this out." So she straightens it out, goes in the dining room, walks back into the kitchen, and then I got up and I messed it up again. She came third time, sees it again, and she doesn't fucking say anything, which should have been a warning to me. So she straightened it out, and then she walked into the kitchen and turned the corner, and I got back up again to go mess it up. And right as I'm grabbing it to mess it up, I hear this stomp, and she took a quick step back and looked back out, and right in the middle of it saw me messing it up, and she just had this wooden spoon in her hand and just came fucking flying at me. Like if it was an axe, I wouldn't be here, right? If it was a hatchet, I would have been dead. She came in like Billy Bob when he kills that country singer, right? Came flying at me. I just remember crouching down and putting my arm up, and it fucking snapped in half over my forearm. She had this look of anger on her face, slammed it down, snapped it over my arm, and then she just, after it snapped, she just went, well, that's the end of that spoon. And then she just walked back out into the kitchen, and that was it. So I think that's a good thing if they if they stay with their grandparents. I think you can do both. I think as a couple, if you really sit down and you say what's important to you, you know, and this is very easy for me to say, not having a child and having it completely consume your life. You know, who knows? Your priorities might change or whatever. But there's also something to say, too, that if you start early, I mean, if you started now, you're 27, your kid would be 18 when you're 45, my age right now, and then you can travel, 45, kids out of college. By the time you're 49, then you have your golden years, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, depending on how, if you eat right and you juice, you can live right up to fucking 90 and you can go see the goddamn world. But there's no reason why you can't do that right now. Even though that you're in school, there's no reason why you can't go to Puerto Rico or go to Hawaii. There's some beautiful cities up in Canada, you know, Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal is fucking tremendous. There's all beautiful cities here in the States. There's all kinds of things that you can do, and you can do them really cheaply when you don't have any kids. Dude, literally just backpack it. Just put a backpack on, stay in fucking hostels. Who gives a fuck? You know? Just go. I would just say go and do it. I would just, do it now. Do it now. But I think that you can do both. And I also say everybody I know who's ever had a kid has never regretted it. Never, ever regretted it. So, I think it's also important that if you do something like that to not lose yourself in all of it. All right? There. I've said my piece.